Hey YouTubers, welcome back to video number 20 of Small Engines Questions and Answers for Friday, October 29th, 2010. It's hard to believe that I'm already on the 20th video of the Small Engines Questions and Answers, and a lot of people enjoy it, so I'm going to keep doing it for many months to come. Also, keep sending in your questions. I am stockpiling the questions to answer in future Q&A videos, so just be patient because I have to sift through them and prepare them for future videos. So before I get started today, just a quick update on the pressure washer. I've decided to not repair it. I'm just going to save the engine for a future project that I have for this winter or next spring. So that engine's going to come in nice and handy. And I've got the pump in a container here, all in parts. I'm just going to put it away in that bucket, and maybe it can be used for parts at some other time. For today is somebody's asking me, do most snowblowers have a friction wheel? The answer to that is yes, most snowblowers do have a friction wheel. Well, here's a couple friction wheels from two snowblowers. This is from an MTD. That's from a Murray or Noma snowblower. This one here, the rubber, this part here, is attached to the metal of the friction wheel. And on most MTDs you can replace just the rubber lining, which completes the friction wheel on your snowblower. Now on most snowblowers you're going to find the friction wheel behind this cover here, so you'd have to remove the pan by removing all the bolts that hold it down. So here's a typical setup of a snowblower. This is an MTD machine. Most snowblowers do have a friction wheel of some sort that rubs on the friction disc here. So basically when you engage the drive, it brings the disc up to the friction wheel, and that's what propels the wheels on your blower. So when the disc turns, you can see the wheels are turning slowly. It's important to check for wear and tear on your friction wheel here. If it's wearing down to the metal, make sure to replace it because you're going to end up damaging this disc here, and that can be an expensive part to replace. So it's much cheaper just to replace the friction wheel instead of the whole disc. Also make sure that there's no grease on the disc or the wheel, or it's going to slip and the wheels aren't going to turn when you press the lever. So checking the friction wheel can be part of your pre-season maintenance checkup. Now another question I often get is, what kind of oil should I use in my air tools? Well, what I use is specifically Air Tool oil. It doesn't have to be this brand name, but as long as it says Air Tool oil, that's good. It says oil daily on this one, and you can see the little arrow pointing toward the connector. So what I've done is I've put the Air Tool oil in an oil can like this with a smaller tip. Then it's easier to just put it into the connector. You can put 3 to 5 drops in there every time you use it, and that will suffice. On this impact wrench here, there's a little hole here and it says oil, so I would put the oil here instead of over here. On this little jackhammer here, the oil would go in the connector here. So follow these guidelines, and if you oil your tool daily, they're going to last a lot longer. Now in a previous video I posted on replacing the primer bulb on this Homelite grass trimmer, which has a Walbro carburetor. Somebody asked me, when you remove the primer bulb, what's this little rubber part over here? Well, what that little part is, it's like a duckbill valve or a one-way valve, but this little valve is there for us to prevent the air which the primer pushes out to the fuel tank from coming back in to the carburetor or the primer bulb. So all the air that you push down into the fuel tank will stay in the fuel tank to pressurize the tank to send the fuel up to the carburetor in the other fuel line, therefore keeping the pressure up in the fuel tank. So if you've got a brand new primer bulb here, and you still find that the primer doesn't work, it could be that the valve isn't stopping the air from coming back into the primer. You can buy these little valves individually. I have seen them on eBay. They're fairly cheap, they're only like $1 or $2 each, and they can save you a lot of trouble. Then your primer bulb just goes over that, and you can see the valve under the bulb. It's very rare that I have to replace any of these little valves under there. Usually I end up replacing the carb kit and the bulb before that. Another question I often get now that it's fall time and we're approaching snowblower season is people are asking me what kind of oil should I use in my snowblower? Well, what you should be using is a 5W30 motor oil. I like using Castrol 5W30 oil or Quicker State or Pennzoil. You can use a synthetic oil if you want. It's not necessary, but you can if you want to. 5W30 oil is designed for winter use as well as summer use. So the 5W30 oil is going to stay fairly thin in the winter time, and it's not going to be so hard to start your machine. So that about does it for this week. Thanks for watching. I want to thank everybody for their voluntary monetary contributions as well in the last week. Also, I want to thank a YouTuber from Ireland who sent me €10 today. Just got it in the mail. He's also sent me a few other €5 bills for beers. So he sent me this today as a small donation and for a beer. So it's actually the third beer he sends me. And check out his YouTube channel at Liam Auto Mechanic. He does automotive repairs, and from what I see, mostly on European cars. So if you're interested in that, go check out his channel. Also, if you live in Ireland and you want your car repaired, look him up and he'll fix your car up for you. And also, I want to thank everybody for the good comments they've been putting on the videos and all the support in watching them. Also, I want to announce that starting tomorrow up until Thursday, I'll be posting videos on compression tests of small engine equipment, but on 2-cycle engines. So come back every day this week. I'm going to be testing the compression on a different piece of equipment every day. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Take care now.